The garden surprise. Sarah is 34 years old. She lives in a small town. She is an English teacher at the community center. She teaches a class of adults. The students come from many places. Some are new to the town. Some came long ago. They all come to learn and to meet each week. One spring, the community center wanted to make a little garden. The land beside the building was empty. It had old soil and a few stones. The center thought a garden could make the place bright. It could give people a calm corner to sit. The center asked the class to help. Sarah said yes. She likes small projects. She likes to do things with people. The students were curious. They wanted to try. Sarah planned a simple idea. She would teach words while they planted. The class would learn and care for the plants. On the first day, the students sat near the bare soil. Each student had a pot and a small pack of seeds. The seeds were cheap and plain. Some were for flowers, some were for herbs. Sarah held a packet that read sunflower. She thought of a tall yellow face. She liked the idea of a warm color in the spring. Sarah showed the students how to plant. She used very small words. She said, "Make a little hole, put the seed in. Cover it with soil, tap lightly, water a little." The students did as she said. They laughed when the dirt touched their fingers. They smiled when the pots looked tidy. After the class, Sarah walked to the garden each day. She carried a small green watering can. She walked slowly and listened to the air. Many days she could not see a change. The soil felt quiet. Sometimes the weather was cold. Sometimes it rained hard. She wondered if the seeds were still there. Sarah spoke to the students on the path. She told them simple words about hope and care. She said, "Small acts can grow into big things." The students listened. A young man named Tom sent a photo of a tiny green point. Anna sent a note that read, "I saw a sprout today." These small messages made the class smile. Weeks passed with small steps. The leaves came slowly. Each leaf was thin at first. The stems were not strong. Sarah kept watering. The students kept caring. Some students could not come each day. They asked friends to water for them. The class learned to share the work. Sarah told a short story each week. She used simple sentences. She said, "A plant needs time. A plant needs sun. A plant needs care." The words were easy to learn. The students practiced the words together. They pointed at the pots and said new words out loud. One bright morning, Sarah walked to the garden before class. She pushed aside the small board with notes. She looked at the pots and counted slowly. Her heart beat a little fast. In one pot, a stem stood taller than the rest. A round shape sat on top of the stem. She could not speak at first. She felt a soft joy move inside. Sarah called Tom and Anna with a small note left on the board. The class came like a quick small crowd. They stood in a ring and looked. The round shape opened its small points. They shone gold in the sun. The students gasped. They touched the air near the petals but did not touch the flower. They wanted to keep the flower safe. The sunflower grew day by day. It became taller and taller. The petals seemed to open like a bright circle. The face of the sunflower looked like a small sun. The town children walked by and stopped. The local baker saw it and stood long with a warm look on his face. The sunflower made many faces look softer. The community center made a small party. They put a simple banner and some chairs. People from the street came to look. The baker brought small bread. A neighbor brought tea. Two boys brought a little music box. They played one soft tune. The guests looked at the tall flower and then at each other. They smiled as if they shared a small secret. An old woman came to the party. She had soft hands and a small voice. She reached and touched the petal with a thin finger. Her eyes warmed. She told Sarah, "I planted flowers when I was young. I forgot how it felt until now." Sarah listened and held the woman's small hand. The old woman said, "You made our day brighter, thank you." Sarah felt a warmth that was hard to describe. After the party, the class wrote short notes and tied them to a small string near the pots. They wrote one line each. They wrote words like care, hope, and together. New people read the notes and sometimes added a small drawing. The garden board became a slow story of small acts. A teacher from the local school asked to bring her students. She wanted them to see the small gift from the class. The children sat on the grass and listened to Sarah. She spoke slowly and used short words. The children laughed when Sarah made a small joke. They looked at the sunflower like it was a very large star. Months passed. The sunflower made seeds. The seeds were dark and small. The class collected the seeds in jars. They wrote the date on the jars. They kept the jars in the center. Many people asked for a seed to plant at home. The students gave some seeds away with a small note. The garden did more than change the land. It changed small habits. People waved at one another more. Parents stopped to smell the flowers with their children. A man who passed by each day began to sit on the bench and read a paper. The town felt softer. Sarah kept teaching and kept caring. She asked the class to try small acts beyond the garden. They swept the path on rainy days. They picked a little trash. They planted a few herbs to share with the center kitchen. Each small act felt like a seed of its own. The small acts reached beyond the garden. A neighbor used the herbs in a new tea at a little cafe. A student planted a pot on a small balcony and sent a photo of tiny green leaves. A child brought a drawing of the sunflower to school. A man who worked at the bakery placed a small pot of basil by his window. A young mother planted a small pot on her flat roof and watched it grow. These small signs made Sarah smile each day and told her the work was not in vain. At night, Sarah sat by her window and held a jar of sunflower seeds. She turned the jar in her hands and thought of small things that grow. She felt a quiet strength inside. She knew the change came from small acts and patient care. The garden taught them one simple truth. A small care given every day will become strong. A small care can change a town and change a heart. Sarah smiled and looked at the dark sky, and she felt ready to plant again next spring.